Hello, my name is Hido and welcome to the Pantheon, where today, well, there's a change of things, isn't there? We've got some green screen magic going on. This is why I've not been uploading some videos. But anyway, enough about me. Welcome to the Pantheon and let's have a look at the commander we're dealing with. It's Kura, the Boundless Sky. 5 mana for a 4/4 flying death touch dragon spirit. There it is. Wonderful, wouldn't you say? When it dies, choose one. Search your library for up to 3 land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. That's any 3 lands, by the way. You can get literally any combination that you desire. Amazing. Or create a XX green spirit creature token where X is the number of lands you control. So both those work very synergistically together, really optimizing the style of deck. We're going to get big spirits. We're also going to get a lot of lands into play. Who would have known that green is good at getting lands? Well, I did. But why don't you subscribe to my channel? I'll tell you a couple of other things that I know. Not many, but there's a couple. So come and join me on the journey as we make videos for every single legendary creature ever, or something to that effect. Now, without further ado, let's have a look at my top 5 for Kura. And in at number 5, what have we got? Well, we've got Urza's Tower, and this is all about the specific lands that you want to tutor up. Urza's Tower, I love this land. Obviously, in Modern, it's phenomenal, but in Commander, we never really get to play it. But we get to tutor for 3 different lands, and guess what? Urza's Tower works quite well with the number 3. So, Urza's Tower, it's a land, Urza's Tower. Ooh, wow. Tap to add a colour. If you control an Urza's Mine and an Urza's Power Plant, tap to add 3 instead. Now that is phenomenal. You're accelerating so much. Altogether, these end up making 7 mana total, which is quite good out of 3 lands, a nice bit of acceleration. Urza's Mine is the other one. It's an Urza's Mine. What a type. Then you can tap it to add to colours. If you control an Urza's Power Plant, an Urza's Tower, add 2. Then, obviously, it's Urza's Power Plant. Hey, the trifecta has been completed. It's a land, Urza's Power Plant. Wow. Then you can tap it, add a colours. If you control an Urza's Mine and Urza's Tower, add 3. No, I'm wrong. Add 2. Overall, you make 7 mana, but it's fantastic. And similarly, we can go with Vesuva to copy any one of these, because they are not legendary. So if you've got 2 Urza's Mines, well, they both tap for 2 if you've got all 3. So this can accelerate us ridiculously into the sort of stratosphere of mana. Vesuva is also phenomenal because it just becomes any land on the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, tapped as a copy of any land on the battlefield, which is quite good. Your opponents are probably going to have some amazing lands, so stealing them, or at least becoming a copy of them, is really, really powerful. Then we've got Dark Depths, a wonderful combo here. This is just 2 of the lands that you could tutor up. Dark Depths, legendary snow land. It enters the battlefield with 10 ice counters on it. Pay 3, remove an ice counter from it. Okay. When it has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, create Marit Lage, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. Ooh, we can just hit in for loads of damage. But wait, we're paying 30 mana. I mean, yes, we have lots of lands that are tapping for lots, thanks to the power plants, things like that. But what about if we had a Thespian Stage we could tutor up along with it? Thespian Stage is a land, taps for a colours, pay 2 and tap it. It becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability. So why is this good with Dark Depths? Well, Dark Depths, it enters with 10 counters, but if we have Thespian Stage become a copy of Dark Depths, it becomes a copy with no ice counters on it. So what that means is the legendary rule kicks in, because they know both legendary. We keep the one without any counters on it. Then the next part of it triggers. So if it has no ice counters on it, hooray, it doesn't. We sacrifice it and we get a Marit Lage. Amazing. And Thespian Stage can also become any copy of any land that we want. It's so amazing. We can end up with tons of power plants. Who doesn't want tons of power plants? Just churning out. Oh, well, Urza wants tons of power plants. Urza's Saga is an enchantment land, Urza's Saga. Ooh, nice. Basically what happens is, as this comes in, it gains a level, and then we keep going and going and going, gaining more levels, hooray. But the first level, it gains tap to add a colours, because it is a land, but it doesn't have that tap ability, but it gives itself it. That's cool. Then we can tap it and pay 2 to create a 0/0 colors construct artifact creature token. With this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. We're not too deep into artifacts, so that's not too amazing, really. But what we really want this for is that last ability. Search your library for an artifact card with mana cost, not mana value. That's different. Mana cost is a specific costing, so it has to be 0 or 1 generic. It can't be an artifact that's cost 1 green or something like that. It has to be specifically them. Put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle your library. And this can tutor up some amazing things, some sacrifice outlets, things like that, which is exactly what we want with this commander that has a dies ability. And those are the lands that I'd sort of put into this deck to tutor up. And that brings me on to number 4. And in number 4, we've got Elder Pine of Jukai. 3 mana for a spirit. And spirit is what this is all about, because our commander is a spirit. So I thought going down that sort of spirit tribal sort of tact might be quite cool. It's a 2/1 for 3, not great, but it has Soul Shift. And whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. You put all land cards, hey, revealed this way into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So if you're going to be churning out a ton of different spirits, well, we can end up creating a lot of card advantage. I'd play maybe 40 to 50 lands in this deck because we want lands. Lands are an integral part of this deck. And this sort of advantage is wonderful. Soul Shift 2, not that great, but what it means is when this dies, we get a spirit from our graveyard into our hand if it has 2 CMC or less. Are we going to be playing too many 2 CMC things? Well, no, not really. But we could play Life Spinner, a 4 mana 3/3 spirit that taps, sacrifice 3 spirits, search your library for a legendary spirit card and put it into play. Then shuffle your library. Just tutors a magnificent spirit onto the field. So if you end up shuffling your commander in, well, this can go and get it if you've got enough spirits to sacrifice. And when our commander dies, we can also make another spirit to sort of sack to this. But what legendary spirits can we get? Well, not this one. This is another Soul Shift monstrosity from the original Kamigawa. Forked Branch Garami? 5 mana for a 4/4 Soul Shift 4. Soul Shift 4. So when this dies, or goes to the graveyard, we get 2 4 CMC spirits back. Sadly, our commander's 5 CMC, but the other spirits that we've talked about, Life Spinner and the other one, can be got back with this. So a nice bit of value we could generate there. And here are some of the legendary spirits we could get. Iname Life Aspect is a 6 mana 4/4 legendary creature spirit. When it is put into a graveyard from play, you may remove it from the game. If you do, return any number of target spirit cards from your graveyard to your hand. So rebuys everything. It's like mega Soul Shift, isn't it? We can just generate so much value. And if we filled our graveyard, which we might want to be doing, maybe we've got a couple of ways to reanimate lands, reanimate creatures possibly. This is great for just rebuilding a good board state. Then we've got Patron of the Orochi, 8 mana for a 7/7 spirit with Snake Offerings. So when you cast this, you can cast it at instant speed if you sacrifice a snake and then pay the remaining mana cost from that snake and this. So if you sacrifice like a Sakura Tribe Elder, this would cost 6 mana and you paid 1 of the green, if you get what I mean. So this is wonderful because you can tap it to untap all forests and all green creatures. Play this ability only once each turn. But that is amazing. We're mainly going to be playing forests, apart from all of our special utility lands. But there are ways to make things forests. There's the new legendary land, I can't remember what it's called, but it makes all of your lands tap for a green or make forests. Maybe it doesn't make them forests. Anyway, I'm spiraling out of control, but this is a great value engine, and it's legendary. Then there's Kodama the East Tree, wonderful with lands. 6 mana 6/6 with Reach Spirit. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. So whenever a land comes into play, we just play a land where we can put another in with Kodama. Or that's XX Spirit that our commander makes. We can put a land in when that enters. This just generates so much value. It's wonderful, and it's a spirit. And finally, we've got Masamaro First to Live. 6 mana Star Spirit. So its power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. That is pretty cool, to be fair. And that's a sort of sub-theme I'd go into with this deck, because when our commander dies, we can get 3 cards into our hand. That's going to swell our hands. They're going to be magnificently large, hopefully. So this is going to be quite big. It's a beta, and it's a little spirit there, so it fits well with the theme. Cool collection of spirits there. I enjoy it. And that brings me on to number 3. That looked like I was giving a very rude hand gesture. Sorry about that. But in at number 3, what do we have? We got Frontier Siege, and sacrifice outlets and things like that for triggering our commander are really cool. And this is a really interesting one. 4 mana for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose Khans or Dragons. If you choose Khans at the beginning of each of your main phases, add double green to your mana pool. So for each turn, you're going to be getting 4 mana. First turn, well, first main phase, you get 2. Second main phase, you get 2. Wonderful. Accelerates you, gets you into those big X spells, things like that. Or Dragons. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. And our commander, guess what, is a creature with flying, and it has Death Touch. So if it fights, it's going to kill whatever it fights. And that can trigger our commander. Then, you know, if it dies in the fighting, well, we get to get tons of lands or a massive spirit. Really, really awesome. Similarly, I go with Greater Good because, you know, talking about Masamaru and all things like that, they get bigger with the amount of cards in hand. Let's get even more cards in our hand with Greater Good. 4 mana enchantment, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then discard 3 cards. Who cares about the discarding when we're sacrificing, you know, a 10-10, drawing 10, discarding 3. Ooh, what a disaster. Then we've got Altar of Dementia for filling our graveyard or potentially just milling someone out if we're sacrificing something massive. Altar of Dementia, 2 mana, artifact, sacrifice creature. Target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard. So we can fill up our graveyard for, you know, any sort of returning shenanigans, that soul shift ability. Yeah, really good. Or we could just mill out our opponents. And then finally, we've got Birthing Pod, which is a wonderful green sacrifice outlet. Yes, we can only use it once and it's sorcery speed, but it is just so good. And we can get it out before our commander. 4 mana or 3 mana and 2 life. And then you can pay 2 mana or 1 mana and 2 life. And tap it, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield and then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only any time you can cast a sorcery. So our commander, well, it's 5 CMC. And there's quite a few good spirits and things like that that are 6 CMC. So we can sacrifice our commander, get a ton of lands, get Kodama onto the field. Straight away we can put things in. Amazing. Just works so well. And these are some cool sacrifice outlets I'd include. And that takes me on to number 2. And at number 2, we've got, well, Realm Seekers, talking about things that get pretty goddamn large. This is one of my favourites. 6 mana for 0/0. Oh dear. Oh no. Well, it enters the battlefield with X11 counts on it, where X is the total number of cards in all players' hands. Not just ours, because we're going to have a ton of cards anyway, but our opponents, you know, generally our opponents, they like drawing cards, I've found, depressingly. So what we can do is just get a massive beta. And then fitting in with a lands theme, pay 3, remove a 1/1 counter from Realm Seekers, search your library for a land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. Tutor up any land. It's not just a basic land, it's whatever you need at that moment. Amazing. Works wonderfully. And then we've got Multani Yavimaya Avatar. 6 mana, 0/0. Although it's got reach and trample, that's great when you've got 0/0 power. Although it gets 1/1 for each land you can... Oh my god. Each land you control and each land card in your graveyard. So if you've been drawing tons of cards, you know, discarding a bunch to Greater Good, well, Multani's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you can pay 2, return 2 lands you control to your opponent's hand, return Multani from the graveyard to your hand. So even if it gets destroyed or killed, well, we can bounce him back, recast him, bounce some lands back, get some extra triggers. This is fantastic. Then there's Centaur Vinecrusher, another very land-based massive dude. 4 mana, trampling plant Centaur. Ooh. 1/1, when it enters the battlefield, it comes in with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of land cards in all graveyards, not just ours, it's literally everyone's. Then, whenever a land is put into a graveyard from anywhere, you may pay 2 green. If you do, return Centaur Vinecrusher from your graveyard to your hand. So a nice rebuy ability and allows us to use him over and over again. Then to finish off, we've got a slightly different take on this. We've got Sasaya Orochi Ascendant. 3 mana, reveal your hand. If you have 7 or more land cards in your hand, flip this thing. I don't have an animation for that, so I'm going to try and read upside down. I'm sorry for this. Whenever a land you control is tapped for mana, add 1 mana of that type to your mana pool for each other land you control with that name. The same name. There you go. So if you've got a bunch of forests, well, all your forests are tapping for a ridiculous amount. And revealing our hand, you know, to have 7 lands in it, it's pretty easy. That's just pretty much 2 sacrifices of our commander. So this could easily flip, and then you've got tons of mana to finish the game. Nice collection. And that brings me on to my number 1 pick. And at number 1, well, what do we have? What have we got? We've got Mana Bond. And this is a card that maybe you'd be scared to use because it's got a big downside. 1 green, at the beginning of your end step, you may reveal your hand and put all land cards from it onto the battlefield. If you do, discard your hand. So, okay, it doesn't look good, but picture the scene. We've, on turn 1, play this off our forest. Reveal our hand, the 6 lands, boom, just 7 lands we've got on turn 1. Well, we're going to be able to cast our commander and pretty much anything else in our deck. This can just accelerate you so much. And later in the game, if our commander's died, well, we're going to be, you know, tutoring for 3 lands and just dump them straight onto the battlefield. It's so, so good. And they come in untapped. It's just so powerful. Then we've got Green Seeker, a similar sort of card. 1 green, obviously weaker. 1 green for a 1/1. Pay a green, discard a card. Ooh, could be a land that we rebuy later. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. Just, yes, it is a basic land, but it ensures that you've got lands in your hand. Just filtering through your deck, filling your graveyard, and getting you the lands that you need. Then, Life on the Loam, an absolute classic. If we're playing with the graveyard, this is wonderful for buying back things from the graveyard. 2 mana sorcery, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then dredge 3. So whenever you draw a card, you can mill the top 3 to get this back into your hand and then recast it again. So you can constantly be rebuying all those lands we maybe sacrifice, strip mine, things like that, or the cycling lands. Nice. Then we've got Wrenn and 7, not 6. 5 mana for a 5-letter Planeswalker, Wrenn. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all lands you reveal this way into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Nice little mulch there. Fill up the graveyard, get lands to your hand. Then put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tap, so just dump them in, very similar to Mana Bond. Then -3 creates a green tree folk creature with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. -8, return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with, you have no maximum hand size. So it just works so, so well with everything we want to do in this deck. And then finally, no, it's not finally, I've got 3 more. Mending of Dominaria is a great little saga. 5 mana, first 2 levels, mill 2 cards, and then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Nice for sort of closing out a game, keep the sort of big threats coming. Then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield and shuffle your graveyard into your library. Amazing. If we're dumping so many lands into the graveyard, we can get them onto the battlefield and just close out games. Then we've got Realms Uncharted, a 3 mana instant. Search your library for 4 land cards with different names, not that hard in EDH. Reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those. The chosen ones go to the graveyard and the rest into your hand. So you're tutoring for 2 lands, but then you fill in your graveyard. Maybe you can Life from the Loam the back or somehow manipulate them back onto your battlefield with something like Splendid Reclamation. 4 mana sorcery, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Wonderful. Just amazing for rebuying so many things. And this is the final section, and I think all of these will end up potentially winning you the game. Maybe making the game more consistent, dumping lands onto the field. It's just wonderful. And those are my top 5. And please subscribe. I'm going to be making videos like this for every single legendary creature, so come and join me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.